Hey guys, so this is part two. So I realized that my stream cut off and I don't know why it happens, but it happens anyway. So I just roll with the punches. What can I say? So yeah, going back to what I was saying. So if you start off your day and you don't brush your hair and you don't brush your teeth, you already have like this negative thing in your mind, right? You feel like you don't have much worth. And you're gonna go out your day feeling like, oh crap, I feel like crap, oh, I feel so gross because I didn't brush my teeth. But I feel so crippled by anxiety and I feel so crippled by depression that I don't want to that I just don't want to invest that time in. So that, see, those small little actions right there, if you don't brush your teeth, if you don't comb your hair, that signals to your brain you don't value yourself. You don't want yourself to get better. And I feel like a lot of life, it's really like a give or take, right? Or it's like moving forward or moving backwards. If you brush your teeth all the time, right? If you brush your teeth like 2 times a day and you floss, what you're doing is that you're sending a message to your brain that my teeth matter. So, and you're also reducing your chances of cavity. So if you don't brush your teeth or you don't brush and floss your teeth every day, you will increase the chances of you getting a cavity, and cavities cost time and money. What do I mean by that? If you get a cavity, then you got to go to the dentist, you got to pay money to get your cavity filled in. It's not a good feeling for sure to get cavities. I have 9 cavities in my teeth. Yeah, but I haven't had cavities in the last 5 years. I hope that continues on. But all that kind of stuff, all that kind of stuff, it's really important to keep in check because people, I find, including myself, you don't pay attention to the small little actions. You start off morning maybe eating crap food. Maybe you start off the morning eating a donut, right? What is a donut? It's carbs and sugar. Whoop, that's not some good nutrition right there. And then afterwards you're like, oh, for lunch I want to go and eat something cheap. Oh, let me go to McDonald's. So you get some chicken nuggets. That's not good nutrition, right? And then afterwards you think, oh, I'm getting a little tired, let me go grab a frappuccino from Starbucks. That's not good nutrition. That's a lot of sugar. That's a lot of caffeine. Not good stuff. Then you have dinner. Oh, I'm tired. Let me just go over to Burger King. Let me just go grab a Whopper or something. So all those extra calories, even though it doesn't seem like much, over time, if you have an excess of calories, what does that equal to? That equals to weight gain. But it's not just weight gain that I'm being mindful of. It's also blood pressure issues, blood sugar issues, poor nutrition can lead into having some sort of health ailment of sorts. It's not good. But see, it's like all those little actions that you take, for instance, the food that you're putting inside of your mouth, all of it has like a downstream effect. So if you eat crap food today, like if you eat a donut today, and then later on you've chased it with another crappy thing, then you're setting yourself for a habit. And that isn't good because it's really hard to break long time habits. Same as people who smoke, right? Some people who smoke, they say, I smoke a pack a day for a couple years. Oh, it's so hard for me to quit. It would have been way easier to quit early on before you can say, hey, I've been doing this for a couple years, or not even pick up the cigarettes at all. See where I'm getting at? That's why they say, don't smoke, don't do this, don't even do certain things, not even once, because it has a effect and it can really take a hold of people's lives, and then they get lost in addiction, and that isn't a good thing at all. So what I'm trying to get at is whatever actions you take throughout the day or you don't take, I really encourage you guys to scrutinize those actions, right? If you have a goal, focus on, okay, well, I want to lose weight, for example. How do I lose the weight? Okay, let me eat healthier. Okay, well, I'll try and eat healthier, and maybe I'm not going to eat healthy meals every day for the rest of my life, but I can do small little steps to be healthier every day. And then you get down to like maybe 80% good nutrition, 20% bad nutrition. And it's not just a diet thing. I know I use diet as an example a lot, but it's also things that you want to do, right? If you're working on a hobby, you can say, I really want to be better at painting or drawing. So let me set aside time to become a better painter. And instead of beating yourself up, and I've talked about this in a previous stream, right? But instead of beating yourself up about how much better you could be, see the work that you're putting in as making you closer to your goal. So for instance, right, a person who exercises, they're not getting actions, they're not getting like transformative results necessarily within the next 2 weeks, right? It could take 2 months, it could take 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 10 years, whatnot. I know some people will listen to the stream and be like, oh, Erica, if it takes you 10 years to get results, that means you don't have a good personal trainer, you're not getting a personal trainer, which is a fair enough criticism. But I think that it all starts with like little actions. So before you get ahead of yourself and you say, oh, I don't have a good body, ask yourself, well, what is your actions that you're doing throughout the day? Are you exercising? Are you walking? Are you trying to actively burn the calories? Are you watching what your caloric intake is? Are you trying to be healthier, or are you eating crap food? Because again, if you eat crap food and you're working out, I feel like eating the crap food kind of negates the working out. And even if you are losing the weight, my concern is that what about if you're eating like, I don't know, super deep fried food? What about all that sugar or calories or not so good vegetable oils that's going through your body, right? That's not good at all. So I had to drink water. So think about things that way. Think about all the things that you do in a day, list it down, and ask yourself, is this making me have a fulfilling life? Do I feel happy about what I accomplished throughout the day? And if you don't feel like you're accomplishing your goals, like if you look at your list that you did all day and all you did was sit in front of the couch and just watch TV and eat Cheetos, and you wish you had a hotter body, then you need to put in, working out or eating healthier or cutting back on the Cheetos as something that you need to squeeze throughout the day. Again, transformation, I feel like, doesn't happen within 24 hours. It takes a while. It takes a while for people to gain weight. It takes a while for people to be where they are in life, and it'll take a while to get out of certain habits. But consistency is really the key. So, going back on my first stream that I did earlier, I really regret losing track of time. I wish I was more aware of it, and I can regret all I want, but at the end of the day, I have to look forward and say what is in front of me and how could I be better. And that's what I'm trying to focus on now. So I encourage you guys to do the same thing. And if you guys have any regrets, if you guys feel like life is passing you by, you know what? You're on the same page as me. We can't go back in a time machine. The only we can do is just say, okay, this is what's in front of me. This is where I'm at right now. This is my goals. And I wish I had, 12 years I could turn back time, but I can't do it. No matter how much I wish I could have changed the past, I can't do anything about it. And it absolutely sucks. Regret absolutely sucks. But I don't want to spend the next, 33 years of my life regretting something that happened 12 years ago and getting crippled by depression and anxiety and letting fear control my life. And I encourage you guys, right? If you guys are not in the place that you want to be in life, keep that kind of stuff in mind. It's perfectly normal to kind of feel like you wasted time and recognize that you wasted time. But the only way that you can make amends with that kind of stuff is just, run towards whatever your goals are, run through whatever your dreams are, or be the kind of person that you want to be. For me, it's like I look back at my life and I look at it really hard, and I can see that when I was in college, right? When I was in college, I was really fearless. I was a different person. I wasn't cocky, but I was confident that I was going to make it. And then I ended up with a really shitty job. And that job really broke me, because it's like I went through college thinking that, hey, I'm really, I have a great resume. I have great internships. This is going to be great. And then I go through the interview process, and it's so depressing, because it's like the things that I thought I wanted, I couldn't get into it, and I let it break me. So then I took a job at that health insurance place, and I wasn't happy with it, but I took it because I thought, hey, it's a job. And then I remember a couple months into that job, my supervisor basically talked down on me and said something along the lines of like, Erica, I took a chance on you. You had no background. You were just some college graduate. And just being spoken to like that really, really hurt me. And I remember people left and right were telling me, they said, Erica, don't quit this job, because if you quit this job, you're going to have a break on your resume, and I can't support you if you have a break in your resume, because no one's going to want to hire you. If you're a college graduate, you have a break in your resume, because that shows that you're irresponsible. And I had to quit that job due to health reasons. And oh my goodness, I went through such a bad period of my life, you guys, because I remember feeling like I was such a failure, because people had mentioned, they thought like, how hard could it be? It was, it seemed like just an easy job. And I'm like, no, you don't understand how short staffed that company was. You don't understand the metrics behind it. You don't understand how 40% of my team quit. You don't understand how I was doing overtime Monday through Friday, and then there were periods of time I was working 7 days a week, because there was just so much work to be done. It was not a job that I liked, because it's like all day I just heard complaints after complaints after complaints, and it really broke me. I cannot stress enough how much that job broke me. So I became a different person afterwards, and whatever hope and aspirations I had, it went away. I felt like I was really a broken individual. But then, I went and tried other things on my life. But at the end of it, I feel like I just had a lot of lingering kind of, trauma because of that job. And it's just like, when you're at a job and you hear complaints all day, and you see your coworkers crying, and you hear people crying on the phone, and you feel like you're trapped, it's horrific, you guys. It's really horrific. And yeah, I can't do anything about it. I can't turn back time. I can't go back and shake myself when I was like in my 20s and be like, Erica, get this out of your head. Like, you're not defined by this job. But when you're in college, when you're in schooling, it's like you have such a high priority focused on your job, and you don't, there's so much focus on becoming a good employee, and not enough focus on toxic work environments. And yeah, so that was my how bad that job was towards me, and I really became a different person because of it. And I became scared, and I became fearful, and I thought to myself in the back of my head afterwards, I thought, I don't think I'm worthy. Also, I interviewed with places, and a lot of places wouldn't hire me because I didn't have work experience. I didn't have enough work experience. It's like you get out of college and they want 5 years work experience. It's like, what the hell would I get the 5 year work experience when I just got out of college? So that really messed with my head, and I can be very open about it because I don't think there's anything embarrassing about it. That's really kind of like how the job market is. And you see people, and I see people, it's like they zoom through life, it feels like. And for me, it's kind of like, I just kind of look back at it and I just think like, oh my gosh, like I really squandered things. And when I think too much about it, it really messes with my head. You see? So, it depends. Like Slick says, how were the people around you helping you during those times? A lot of people thought I was crazy. They thought I was making things up. They thought like, how bad could it be? It's a good health insurance company. They have a good reputation in the community, it seems. But they never worked there. It's like here. It's like, for instance, right? It's like if you hear about someone working at Google, right? And you don't know anything about Google, you'd be like, oh, it's a good company. It's a big company, that kind of thing. Oh, it must be nice. Oh, but it's like you don't know how it is behind the scenes, but all they do is they just hear about the name. And that's what really messed me up, because it's like people would think like, how it can't be that bad. Like the company that I'm talking about, the health insurance place that I worked at, people after I quit, I had some people talk to other people, and then they were saying, like, couple years later, some people were saying, oh yeah, I found out so and so worked at that company and they said it sucked. And I was like, yeah, that's the same freaking company I was working at. That's the same company that my doctor said I had to quit, either that I'd be getting an ulcer because I was so stressed out. And it wasn't just me. My PCP, my primary care physician, had to rate the same kind of thing to other people who were working at the company. They just didn't disclose it to me. My doctor saw the same symptoms in other people who worked at the same company I did, but they didn't want to let that affect me. They didn't want that to affect my mind, so they chose not to tell me until they saw things getting progressively worse. And yeah, I've never been in, like, I cannot describe to you like how miserable, how painful it is to like wake up and it feels like you have this like terrible like stomach pain, and it's like you got to go to work, and then you end up with all this anxiety because you're going to be starting the day off hearing complaints after complaints, having people scream at you, and then you're timed to the point where they want you to handle a call in 3 minutes. Like, holy crap. I told people that I rather like not have a job than work at that company again. I said, you know what, I would actually consider being homeless and going to that job, because it was that bad for me psychologically, which wouldn't happen to me, but still, like, that's how bad I considered this company. But yeah, it's like, it was just like all a bunch of lies, because they had like a marketing team, and they tried to say like, look how good we treat our employees. But the truth of the matter is that like most of the employees, they were miserable. The turnover was so high. Staffing agencies had a hard time filling positions because it wasn't the people. It was really the metrics. It was the supervisors, it was the standards, and it was just terrible. It was really designed to kind of like push people to their breaking point. And it was a really bad company. I cannot stress that enough. Yeah, so this was after the 2008 financial crisis. So yeah, yeah, yeah. So I had to get checked for ulcers. Oh my gosh! Like, so whenever people talk to me about, let's say, having being in a toxic work environment, like, I have so much sympathy for them, because I'm thinking to myself, like, crap, I know how bad it is to be in a really bad work environment. It's like, and I know how bad it is to just like feel like you're going into a losing battle over and over again, and there's like no hope in sight because it's just complaints after complaints. Like, I really recommend to you guys, like, don't freaking work for any call center job. Don't work for any health insurance company. I would actually, I can't blanket statement and say car insurance and life insurance, but don't work for a health insurance company, you guys. Like, it's freaking terrible. It's like they expect so much out of you, and the standards are insane, and the turnover can be high. And at the end of the day, they're like, depending on your supervisor, they could be like, you should be damn lucky you're getting paid. You have a job. You should be lucky. You should be fortunate. And I told you guys, I had a coworker who was very sweet. She was a very nice woman. She was an Army vet. And she told me that working at that company was harder for her psychologically than going to the Army. Yeah. And I have nothing bad to say about this woman. This woman is a complete fighter. And she left the company. She got married. She left the company, and she is absolutely killing it. In a I think she's like a director position or so. She didn't let the job break her, But I remember she was crying a few times at work, and my heart really went out to her. She was under so much stress, you guys, and she wasn't a mean person at all, but under that company standards, she wasn't good enough. You know? So yeah, that kind of stuff, that's why when I talk about this kind of stuff, and I talk about getting lost in your head and things like that and losing track of time, it's not like I'm pulling this stuff out of my butt. This is actually from my own life experience. And after that, like, this is like some stuff. So if I didn't take that job at all, if I didn't let fear and insecurity, or like the thought of not having a job get to me, I wouldn't have been the person that I am today. I wouldn't have had this kind of trauma, because I probably would have been, I don't know what kind of job I would have had. I really don't know. But I imagine, yeah, my life would have been radically different as a result of that. And yeah, it saddens me sometimes when I look at my old pictures, because I can see how I was before and I can see how I am now. And the person that I was before was different. I remember I was dating a person at the time. And I remember they were telling me, they said, Erica, I think you're going to go far in life. And I asked them why, and then they were telling me all these things about me, and I was like, oh, okay, and I didn't really see the value in myself. But here's the thing, during that time I was working on myself, and I was moving forward, and I felt like I was going in a right direction. And even though I didn't see it, I was taking the actions during the time to be, to put myself in a good position. It's just that I did that misstep, and I worked for that health insurance company. And then that messed me up in the head psychologically, because then that's when you start feeling like, hey, maybe I'm not good enough to have a job. Maybe my supervisor was right. Maybe I should be, maybe I should have just, been thankful for what I had. But yeah, it took me a while to get over it. And then after I got out of that job, when I had that job, I actually was dating a person who worked for the same company I did. We weren't in the same department, by the way, but we were in a different department. And I remember he was under a lot of stress too, and I was under a lot of stress. And I remember that day that he called me up, and he said he needed to talk to me, and then I talked to him after work. I was all stressed out, and he told me he got let go. And I remember thinking, like, what? You got let go? And he said he got fired, and I couldn't believe it. But he got let go because he didn't meet standards, even though he gave his best. But here's the thing. He didn't let that job break him. In fact, after that, right, he started getting involved in investments. Then he started getting involved in, he got involved with investments. So that's part of the reasons why I got influenced into that kind of stuff. And then he got into another job, and that didn't work out. And then ultimately he ended up selling things on Amazon. And I remember how he got into it. I remember I was talking to him one day, and we were in like Ala Moana shopping center, and we were in a store, and I was just casually talking to him about something. And, I had mentioned something to him in passing, and he was like, we had a conversation about it, and he saw something as a money-making opportunity. He ran with it, and he's so successful, you guys. Like, he just bought a $900,000 house in Hawaii, and I'm so incredibly proud of him. So, it's like, he went through the same kind of thing that I went through-ish, different supervisors, but same company. But he did the small little actions to always move forward. And I remember that distinctively. You know, I can look back and I'd be like, man, he was really a fighter. So all the success that he has now, he earned it. You know, I'm so proud of him. So he's banking, you know, above 100K a year. And he's an entrepreneur, and he really, you know, he really just doesn't let things get him down. So that's why when I think about these kind of things, I kind of think like, yeah, all of those kind of actions, right? You can see the way that I did things, and you can see the way he did things, and he just did not let life punch him down. You know, he didn't get lost in his head. He just saw it as like, hey, if life punches him down, he's gonna get back up. And yeah, that's the kind of person that he is. And I just like look back at it and I'm like, damn, you know. So he's a couple years older than me, but yeah, he's very successful in my opinion. And yeah, he has this kind of mind where he says like he'll forge his own future. Like he will do what he can to make money, and then when he makes money, and this is all legal by the way, so he's a seller on Amazon. The things that he does to make money, it's like he always just kind of thinks like, how can I make more money? How can I increase my profit margin? He has that kind of brain, and I'm so proud of him. And yeah, you know, he, you know, like I see how he is and things like that, and I'm just thinking like, wow, he really came far, and he did not let life beat him up. He really didn't. And yeah, so let's see. So that's why I say like all the actions that you take or the inactions you don't take, right? Compare like my life versus his life, right? You can see like he always moved forward, and for me it's just like I got so lost in my head with depression and anxiety. It just like crippled me. You know, it's like I just didn't want to move forward because I had just so much insecurity within myself, and that's not good. You know, that's not healthy at all. So is there any amount of pay that would have made that job tolerable? No. 100% no, Atlas. Like even if I was getting paid an obscene amount of money, my mental state cannot handle complaints. Like from the moment that I clock in to the time I leave that place, it's just complaint after complaint after complaint after complaints. No person should be hearing complaints after complaints after complaints. People are not calling in to say, hey, you're doing a good job. They're calling to complain. They're asking questions, and then some people are so mean on the phones, you guys. Like, I'm not bullshitting you guys. Like, some people, they will hear a person on the phone, and they'll just, like, try to rip them to shreds. You know, they're having a bad day, so they'll just try to take it on the person over the phone. It's very sad. Some people, they think that they can treat other people like a punching bag. Or they can think, like, you know, I'll just go and just threaten a person on the phone, that kind of stuff. And then it also gets complicated when you talk to people with, let's say, dementia, people who are hard of hearing, and people who are confused, you know, that kind of stuff. It's like, ugh. So when you're in like a fast-paced environment and you have to deal with a person who has dementia, right? Imagine how frustrating that is. Like, you know, your calls are getting recorded. You know, you're getting metriced up the butt kind of thing. All your calls are getting timed. All your productivity is getting timed. Basically, everything you do has a time. So you're not only answering calls, but you're filling out paperwork, and everything has a deadline. It's not just do it when you can. It's like you need to do it. Either that or they would be out of compliance. It was hellish. I cannot like stress that enough. That job environment was hellish. And it makes me sad that people still work there. I remember, and I told you guys that there was this one person that I knew about. He was actually getting paid less than I was, but he took so much pride in that job. And you know what the truth is? That guy looked like absolute crap. He gave all his life energy for that job. And do you know how that job thanked him? They laid him off. They laid off the whole freaking department. But from what I heard is that they actually, at the last minute, they decided to transfer. And what did I major in college? I majored in business, actually. I majored in business and I majored in English. Did I ever consider going back to school? You know what? At this point in time, I thought about it, but part of me kind of thinks, like, what's the freaking point? Because college degrees are really like a dime a dozen. I mean, like, okay, I shouldn't say it so insensitive because college degrees are so freaking expensive now. But yeah, it's just, it's crazy how expensive college is now. Like, when I graduated from college, I think every semester it came out to a little over 5,000. Yeah, I think I started around like $3,000 a semester, and then when I ended, it was around 5,000 or so. There was extra for business school. I think it was like $500 extra. But now I'm hearing like college for like some community colleges, they want $7,000. I'm like, holy shit! Like, oh my gosh, it's so insane. Like, and I know people will probably say, like, Erica, that's so ignorant. Like, colleges are more expensive than $7,000, but you know, for state college or community college being $7,000, oh god, it's so unaffordable. And then yeah, a lot of jobs, they want college degrees now, and it doesn't matter if the freaking job only wants to pay you, let's say, $15 an hour. Sometimes the requirement will be like, we want someone with a college degree. So you want someone to pay, you know, possibly, right, $7,000 a semester. You got, I don't know, 2 semesters in a year, right? Let's not count a summer, right? So you're paying 14,000 times 4, right? And that isn't accurate because, you know, college tuition goes up. 56,000, let's just round it up. $60,000. You want someone to pay $60,000 for a freaking job that maybe is like $17 an hour. Like, tell me, like, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. So yeah, I think it's ridiculous. Like, the price of college education now, oh, it makes me squirm so much at the thought of freaking college. It's painful. It's painful to think about it. So yeah, I know people now, it's like they wish they can go to college, but they can't afford it. And then I ask them, how much is college now? And then they tell me what the price is, and I'm just like flabbergasted. I'm like, frick, it's so freaking expensive. For sure. So expensive. No, MLMs are not good. Like, you got to figure out, like, look at the LuLaRoe stuff, right? Look at the LuLaRoe stuff. Like, you got people who had to pay what, $5,000 for initiation kit, and then after they got the freaking initiation kit, what happened after that? Then they're stuck with all this stupid inventory that they can't get rid of because there's some ugly ass prints in there. So yeah, LuLaRoe's MLM, and then you got like Avon, then you got Tupperware, those kind of things. Mary Kay, it's like, ugh. Yeah. So if you have to buy stuff, you have to buy your own kit, and then you have to put your own investment in. Oh my gosh, you gotta hustle. Multi-level marketing. So, you know, like, oh, okay, you know, you want to sell this stuff. Yeah, sell it to your friends, your family. And if you get them to sign up, then you're going to get an X% of their sales. So see, if you get your friends and family to sign up, then you get like 1% or 2% of their sales. And then that's why you'll be on top of it. And that's why they call it multi-level marketing. So see, you go from a pyramid, right? So all the people who are like on the top, like the early adopters, they get paid more. And then if you get a bunch of people who hustle underneath you, you get a cut of their cut. See? So yeah. So at this point in my life, I've been kind of like thinking, and I've been kind of refocusing, and I just kind of like realize I can't I can't change back the past, but I can't live a life where I'm just so fearful about certain things, you know. And I can't let my insecurities really get the best of me, because again, I don't want to be 66 years old. And I don't want to be 66 years old and say, man, I remember from my 20s to my 30s to my 40s, I just was too scared and sad to do certain things because of my past experience that what happened to me in my 20s, you see. So that's why I'm saying, like, don't get lost in your head, because the moment that you just kind of look back at the past and you focus on those kind of things, and you don't just say, fuck it, fuck what happened in the past, let me just focus on the present, that's when that's when it can get really complicated, if you just kind of focus on your failures and you don't really kind of let go of them to that point, you see. So that's why my ex is so successful. He was in the same job as me ish, different department, but he got worse because he got let go, and instead of seeing it as a setback, he said, let me pivot, let me try to do something else. And then that didn't work out, and then he got into selling stuff online, and he's very successful in it, and he was able to get a $900,000 house. So yeah, it's all about like what you do, what do you do in those setbacks. A lot of people, I think, if they got fired from a job and if they encountered one difficulty after another, it could just like cripple them, could cripple them psychologically. But other people would just fight forward, and they would just say, screw it. I want to succeed. I have this desire to succeed, and I'm not going to let failures hold me back. I feel like, and this is just me, but I feel like men are more confident in going in that direction versus women, because I have known guys that are really successful. And they have this thing where they just like, they don't give a fuck. Really, they don't give a fuck. Like, they're just they go confidently in what they go off to. They're very driven, and they don't let failure stop them. They just keep going and going and going. And the most successful people that I know personally, a huge majority of them are all men. They're all males, and some of them, like, I know their backstory. Some of them I don't know their backstory so much, but I know some of them, it's like they've gone through some real tough crap in their life, and they haven't been successful in like a number of things, but whatever they are successful in, holy crap, they just freaking slaughter it. It's just kind of like awe-inspiring kind of thing. And I don't know. It's like, I've known some people, it's like they rose up to positions like really young, and I don't keep in touch with these people anymore, but some of these people, it's like, it's just kind of crazy. It's like you feel like they make so much money that they should be, they're in like top positions, and they should be happy with where they are, but no, they just look to expand and expand and expand, and they just want everybody to really know their name. And so like, for instance, right, there's this one person that I know, and the person that I'm referring to, they got into a really top level position when they were 28 years old, and they were raking in six figures. And they had a game plan. I remember talking to them, and they had a game plan about how they wanted their life to be. And they said, I just need to do this for X amount of years, and then this is my game plan of what I'm going to do afterwards. And they had everything mapped out. Like, holy crap, I could not believe how focused this guy was. But one of the things that really stood out to me is that this guy was very, 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 very controlling. He was he was very particular about things, very particular, like very OCD. And part of me kind of thinks, part of me kind of speculates that that control aspect, or having control, is really what is really something that he thrived on. Having control in his life, having control in how, he dominated certain things, having control in his relationships, that kind of stuff. Yeah, this guy, like, if you ever met him, he was kind of like the Great Gatsby kind of thing. Not raking in millions, but you remember that scene where Leonardo DiCaprio is like, they're asking like, who's Gatsby, and then all of a sudden you got Leonardo DiCaprio saying things like, I'm Gatsby, and then you got the fireworks and stuff like that. Like, yeah, this guy was a rock star. But yeah, I got to know him for a while, and I just could not believe how his brain worked. It was just like, whoa. Just very sharp, very focused, very critical, very analytical, very controlling. But he could turn on the charm, and he could turn on the charm like a light switch. And it was kind of scary. So yeah, that kind of stuff. He was never comfortable with his life. He always sought to do better. Always sought to do better. That's the one thing that I remember. So I've been fortunate to kind of hear about and hear and see how some people live. And if I was smarter, I would have seen the patterns, but I didn't see the patterns up until recently. Recently, about what makes people different. And I find that the most successful people that I know of, that I've known for at least a couple months in my life, they don't let anything stop them. They're very neurotic. They're just like go 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 go. And instead of fighting with other people, because like, for instance, women can get very catty, guys just like forge their own path. That's one of the reasons why I don't really like talking to a lot of women, because I feel like sometimes like women can get really catty. Fortunately, the women that I know aren't catty. But yeah, some women can be very catty, very competition. It's like, dude, I don't want to be your competition. Like, I don't want drama kind of thing. But yeah, it's something. Yeah, so just sharing all those kind of things with you guys. I know this stream has been all over the place, but I hope it encourages you guys to kind of think, like, hey, if there's someone successful out there, how are they successful? It might be because they don't get lost in their head. It might be because they're just hyper focused on being able to succeed, and even if they fail, they still get up. And they don't let anything stop them. What is real? I've been listening to this. It sounds like a textbook psychopath. Did something happen to him during his early years that drove him to be successful? Not that I'm aware of. I didn't know too much about his background, but I know that he was always very ambitious. I mean, this guy, oh my God, you guys, like, this guy was a total goal-getter. And he is a goal-getter. A total goal-getter. Like, I can't describe how freaking focused and driven this guy was. It was incredible. And when I knew him, I was, this was before my whole insurance thing. So this is before I took that job. And one of the reasons why we stopped talking is because he knew me before I got that insurance job. So he knew how I was. He got to know me. And we spoke and things like that. And then after I got that insurance job, I became a different person. I was hurting psychologically. And I remember I reached out to him and I was in so much psychological I was just distraught. I I wanted I wanted to just talk, and I wanted to just kind of get some advice of sorts. But I remember distinctively there was a lack of compassion. And that's why I stopped talking to him, because I didn't feel any understanding. I felt like it was like I felt like judging eyes, like, you're a weak link. You're not who I thought you were. I thought you were a strong person, Erica, and you're not. You're basically a mess. And that's why I stopped talking to this person. And looking back at it, it saddens me, but I think everything happens for a reason. And this, like I said, this person happens to continue to be very, very successful, and very, very, driven, successful, well respected. And I just kind of wonder, I was just taken aback, because I thought, like, geez, like, I didn't feel any empathy. I didn't feel any, like, warmth or anything like that. It was like, I just felt like it was even worse, because here I am talking to this person, telling them about, what happened with my job situation. Not like I'm asking them for a job or anything like that. I just really needed some guidance, and I really needed some advice. And that's what happened. So, sometimes like, you'll have people, and I've shared this before, right? You'll have people who, they're so driven, they're so motivated, they're so successful that if someone stumbles, you can interpret it as that person, if they're spending too much time lost in their head, they're failure. They're spending too much time. And it saddens me. It kind of saddens me, because I just kind of think, like, that lacks that kind of humanistic thing. Like, success is good, but I think also being genuine with people and actually caring about people, or just showing some, like, guidance and things like that. And by the way, this same person that I'm talking about is the same person that said, Erica, if you quit your job before you have another one lined up, I cannot support that. And I quit that job because of health reasons. So yeah, imagine, hearing this from a person that is arguably the most driven, successful person that you know, and you let them down because you had to quit your job because of health reasons, because your doctor told you to quit your job. See? So that was probably one of my greatest failings. Just quitting that job and not having anything lined up. I tried, you guys. I tried getting another job lined up. I just couldn't do it. I just did not get it, the interviews. I got the interviews, but I just didn't ace them for whatever reason. And it hurt. It hurt a lot, because after I quit that job, I remember feeling so lost. And I remember thinking, like, I let so many people down, because here I am, I don't have a job. I have a gap in my resume. And yeah, but overall, I can't do anything about the past, and nobody can, actually. But yeah, those are the stories, and those are the things that happened in my life that kind of contributed me to yeah. Those are kind of things that just kind of last with me. And that's why I say, you got to be mindful about people, because not everybody is going to be a strong person, and not everybody is going to have a smooth sailing in life. But what we remember about each other is, like, how people treated us, how people spoke to us. And I always try to be mindful about that. But yeah, that person, oh my goodness, 30 years of volunteering, and I was thrown out. I'm so sorry, Jim. Yeah, I can imagine how hurtful that is, Yeah, it was in Hawaii. But yeah, I just remember feeling like when I quit that job, I remember feeling like I was utterly useless. I remember feeling I let a lot of people down, and that's the thing that I'm going to keep in mind moving forward, because I spent so much years of my life, lost in my head. Um being basically paralyzed by fear and anxiety, and at the end of it, I don't ever want to come across these people on the street and then having them think to themselves like all my assumptions I made about Erica was correct. You know? That's what I don't want. And I know people would say, well, Erica, you shouldn't do things because of other people. And it's like, no, I'm going to do it for myself, because I don't want to live a life where I feel that I really shortchanged myself. You see? So that's why I'm trying to turn over a new leaf in my life. And I'm trying to be more confident, and I'm trying to be more brave about things. And it's not easy. It's not easy to get outside of my comfort zone, but I'm being transparent about this stuff, because I really feel that in the future I'll be in a much better place, and I don't want anybody to think that, yeah, Erica just up and a light bulb switched in her head and she just went through things confidently. That's not it. But I'm just kind of like going through life like one foot in front of the other, and then when I feel more comfortable, then I can run a little bit. But I really want to go back to the person that I was before. And yeah, it saddens me, because it's like I kind of think about where I could have been if I didn't get lost in my head. And I can't take back that time. The only thing I can do is just move forward. And it's a tough pill to swallow, because I know people would say to me, they would say, well, Erica, you're talking about this stuff, but at the end of the day, you're 33 years old. There's going to be people who are much younger than you, people with more work experience. You really shot yourself in the foot. Think of all that time that you wasted. Think about your age, things like that. And I just want to block that stuff out. But I don't know what the future has to hold for me. But I do hope, and I do really believe that in the next 2 years, my life will be really different. And I think that I'm gonna, it's only gonna be a result of me pushing myself out of my comfort zone and saying, I want to, I can't take back the time, but I want to go back, and I want to just like be back on that path that I was before. You see where I'm getting at? Like, not exactly the same path, but yeah, just go at it, and acknowledge that I did fall short on certain things, and acknowledge that I can't turn back the time. But yeah, that's all. So yeah, I know that there are people out there who have this whole thing where they think, oh, Erica is basically useless because Erica doesn't have a job, and Erica's useless because Erica's 33 years old, or Erica's useless because Erica, she isn't like a banging body, and that kind of stuff. It's like, I'm tired of hearing that stuff. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of hearing of this stuff, if that makes sense. So that's why I share this kind of stuff. It's like, at the end of the day, right? It's like, what am I doing to move forward? And I can tell you guys, like, I'm trying to move forward. And I don't know exactly where forward will bring me, but I'm confident that I'll be on a better path. And it sucks. It really sucks. It really sucks having to, face reality, but this is reality. And I wish I didn't lose track of these years, but I can't do anything about it. And that's my little regret for getting lost into my head. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, I will talk to you guys later, and yeah.